Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. I got a bunch of questions from you guys about the recent UFC match between Dominick Reyes and Jon Jones. Finally got around to seeing it. I don't generally watch UFC fights when they air here in Shanghai because they come out in Shanghai because of China time. On Sunday morning, I'm usually in church. But due to this massive viral outbreak in the People's Republic of China, everything is closed, including church. And yeah, also including venues where they play the UFC. And getting it live online, not so easy because of the Great Firewall of China and all of that. So I finally got around to watching it to see what all the hubbub was about. A bunch of you asked me, was this highway robbery? Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, Jon Jones won the decision. I enjoyed the fight. I thought it was a good, clean fight, nice 5-round decision. I watched it without the commentary, with the sound off, which is something I generally do when people ask for my opinion on a judgment, because a commentator can heavily influence your opinion of how things are going. So again, if I want to give you my opinion on this, I'm going to watch that without any sound. I've judged a lot of professional fights. I've worked in most capacities in the combat sports industry, as a coach, as a trainer, as a referee, as a judge, as a fighter. And so that's where I'm coming from here. Simply put, the first 2 rounds, Dominick was really busy. Really busy. Busier than Jon Jones. Throwing more strikes, clipping Jones a bit more, knocked him down at one point. Looked really good. Great first 2 rounds for Dominick Reyes. At the same time, the remaining 3 rounds, I would easily award those to Jon Jones. And I know a lot of people out there really don't like Jon Jones for a number of reasons. A lot of people say he's too cocky. He had that hit and run thing way back when. He had those picograms in his system when they did that test. Okay, I understand that. But let's separate looking at the person, or your evaluation of the person, from his actual performance in that fight. You're asking me about his performance. Jones definitely won the final 3 rounds of that fight. And again, the first 2 rounds, Reyes looked great. Looked good. At the same time, I could see Jon Jones was playing the long game here, which is something you can't afford to do in a 3-round fight, but you can in a 5-round fight, or in the sport of boxing, in those 10, 12-round fights. Oh yeah, if you're a good enough fighter, a good enough defensive fighter, able to avoid damage, and your cardio is good enough to outlast your opponent, let him punch himself out, sure, you can do that. So essentially what happened? Right out of the gate, Jon Jones shoots in for a takedown. Dominick stuffs that, stands him back up, boom, lands a knee to the body. That was a good strike. That kind of set the pace for that first round. Notice Jones didn't shoot for another takedown up until I think it was round 3. And after that, well, after 10 minutes of straight kickboxing, it's significantly harder to wrestle, especially if you're not an experienced wrestler. I don't know a whole lot about Dominick Reyes. I know he used to play football. He has a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So does Jon Jones, actually. Kind of weird, these UFC champion level guys are blue belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Imagine having one of these guys if you get your bright, shiny new blue belt in your Jiu-Jitsu class and you decide, I'm going to sign up for an IBJJF tournament. I'm going to win this thing. And then at the other end of the openweight division, you got one of these monsters. Oh man. Not all blue belts are created equal, my friends. Not all blue belts are created equal. Remember when Jon Jones choked out Lyoto Machida when he was a white belt? Yeah, we have this white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu choking unconscious a outstanding Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And karate master, and all of these other things. So again, not all belts are created equal. I love that about MMA. Love it. So yeah, from my perspective, I could see Jon Jones' plan going into this. After that initial takedown, that's a test. Right? If your first takedown works, you're fighting well under your skill level. So he threw out that double leg in a very similar way to how a lot of boxers use the jab to see how their opponent reacts to it. I throw a jab, maybe you take a step back, maybe you bring up your guard, maybe you parry it. Right? We get some information. We understand a little better how this fight is going to go down. You can feel out your opponent within seconds of a fight. This myth that you can burn several rounds feeling out your opponent in a fight, man, if it takes you that long, you're a bad fighter. So Jon Jones got the message pretty quickly. This guy is strong. It's going to be a waste of my resources, if you will, to try to fight for this takedown early on, because he's strong, he's full of vim and vigor. Yeah, not going to happen right now, but let's try it again a few rounds into this fight, because in a 5-round fight, you can afford to do that if you're a good enough athlete. And Jon Jones is a good enough athlete. So again, essentially, first 2 rounds kind of looked like a kickboxing match. And again, Ray just looked good. You know, his kickboxing is on point. Landed a nice head kick. Not a great deal of damage being dealt from these kicks. No knockbacks. There was that one knockdown. Jon Jones was a bit unbalanced at that point. But again, if you look at these guys, I mean, watch their post-fight interview, they're not marked up, either of them. Not a great deal of damage dealt on either side. And that is the factor that judges should be looking at. Damage done. So if you're looking at takedowns, right? A takedown, it's an important tool in a fight, but a judge has to look at what is accomplished by that takedown. Okay? If I take down my opponent once and he pops right back up, and you know, the other guy clips me on the chin with 7 straight right hands, then that's all that happened in the round. Probably that round is going to go to the guy who landed all those straight right hands, as opposed to the guy who got that one takedown. Considering that if that takedown did no damage, right? If you suplex him on his head or something like that, totally different story. So yeah, not a lot going on there. I know there have been all kinds of videos about this, all types of controversy. I didn't see it as controversial. Simply put, Reyes won the first 2 rounds with his striking, simple takedown defense, that one knockdown, nice knee to the body, nice clipping neck head kick. Yeah, simple things like that. Jones played defensively those rounds, and then in the final 3 rounds, Jones went on the offensive and controlled the action, did more, worked harder. And in my unofficial scorebook and in the actual judges' scorebook, won the fight. So, tell me what you think about this fight in the comments down below. If you have any other questions about UFC fights, MMA, technique, whatever, let me know. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.